What's up, guys? So I'm trying out a slightly new concept. Not sure whether it's something where you guys would like, but I feel that it's part of the plan at this point in time. So for me, nutrition is very, very important. And I think a lot of people are perhaps maybe too busy or too tired. They don't have the access to whole foods at times. So I think it would be good to occasionally sit down with them, have a chat with them on whatever relevant topics they feel are important to them, while having a meal. So I'm gonna just show like the typical meal that I have in the morning. It could be a mixture of proteins, carbohydrates, or just fruits, and lots of hydration along the way. So let me just set it up, and yeah, let's try this out. Give me a second, guys. Like I said, I always like to do live stuff, right? This isn't hope that you guys can see. Okay, so this isn't a mukbang video by any means. It's more of kind of like educating people on what they need to do to eat well on a regular basis. So, mornings after my workouts, I would kind of rest at least for an hour, hydrate myself, and then after that, go on to my prep. So, foods like I think a good amount of fruits. So, fruits and berries, right? Strawberries and blueberries today. This is cacao powder, right? This is pure cacao powder that my friend acquired for me. Very nice of him. The the funny thing was he kind of left it on the table the day that he was kind of wanting to give it to me, and because of that, right? He was so pissed off with himself. He got a delivery to gonna pick it up from his home and back to where we were meeting. It probably cost more than the whole powder itself because of the delivery. But thank you so much, my dear friend. This basically provides you with all the polyphenols that you need, right, for your brain and also your gut microbiome without all the fat and the sugars, right? So for a good period of time, I was consuming chocolates, and I guess at the end of the day, when you consume chocolates in this manner, right, you include the fat. I don't think it's a big deal because this is 99% cacao. Hey, thanks, Greg. Thank you, my brother. Long time no see. So, this obviously just contains more fat. I mean, there's no harm in consuming fat at the end of the day if you're having a good workout regime. Then, simple banana. You have the whole avocados, 2 eggs, and kimchi. Also great for gut microbiome. So yeah, I'm gonna start chowing down. Whoever comes on board and wants to kind of chat, let's have a chat because maybe, oh sorry, wherever you guys are, kick the chair. Wherever you guys are in the world, I'm not sure. I think maybe it's a little bit too late. You might be. I hope it's not supper, right? Supper is not a bad thing if you kind of incorporate it into your whole fasting diet, right? So when you are fasting, I think it doesn't matter what time you decide to eat. It's just a matter of what are the times that you're not eating. So these days, I kind of exclude. I kind of exclude the whole. I don't mind eating breakfast, right? Some people say, okay, they don't eat until lunch. But for me, I just have a very big interval in between. Then I have a very early dinner. So my dinner is like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Singapore time. I know that most folks may not have that luxury because they're still commuting from work back to their home. So these are the things that you might want to consider when you're doing your fasting. Okay, so yes, Greg. Okay, I recently adjusted. Wow, how come I cannot see the chat? I recently adjusted my portfolio to include the coins with the most increase in development. Yes. So if you kind of did that, right? If you kind of did that, that is one of the most logical ways to kind of add your coins in, because I feel that when you add your coins that still have development, still have activity, it's reasonable to believe that there's still activity that is healthy and productive, right? So if you kind of add coins that are entirely speculative, they are no longer active on Twitter, they are no longer active on updating their blog posts, then I think you're really gambling. So what you did, Greg, is actually quite good. So I'm just gonna eat. You guys can come on board, ask me questions. So I got a bag of Mina and Stacks and Op. Okay, right. Okay, cool. How has that been turning out for you? Like in terms of, because we've just had a slight market recovery, right? So I feel that the market is starting to move a little bit. There is obviously some accumulation going on, and also the all-time lows for certain coins are no longer available. You know. Mm. Good for you, man. Up 3 days ago, there is some momentum. That's for sure, Greg. So in terms of movement, personally, I'm still looking at the AI space because the whole Sam Altman um, fiasco, right, has created quite a bit of buzz for the whole AI space. Obviously, to a certain extent, people are realizing the possibility of how profitable the whole space can be, and decentralized crypto at the end of the day is just decentralized data collection, where no one large entity owns everything. But you never know. Hey, what's up, pothead? Join me for a meal, my friend. But don't snack on high carb, high sugar foods if you can avoid it. And hope I'm not making you too hungry. I think it's not about which ones could do well, but more of like what it could potentially be. Because crypto, right, is always very fast moving. So I understand that some of the crypto or AI coins, right, were actually up and running in 2019. So one that I was looking out for was SingularityNET. So SingularityNET is basically an AI marketplace. Pretty much how I skipped the whole NFT marketplace, not because okay, well, because I feel that it's still very speculative, but AI marketplace at the end of the day is a little bit more viable, because when you look at OpenAI or ChatGPT, right, you're starting to see that you can use that as a tool to help you with your business. So, for example, if I need a YouTube description, previously I have to type the whole YouTube descriptions myself, but now I need to type um, the YouTube description using ChatGPT and then refining it. Yes, Pothead, the breakfast looks fantastic. If you can kind of guess, I mean, majority of the plate, right? And you kind of replicate that for yourself, you're on the right track, my friend. And also, I have a bunch of berries here, right? Strawberries and blueberries also for the gut health. So as I was saying, Greg, at this point of time, when I looked at the possible trend, okay, now take note, this is non-financial advice. We're just chatting as friends. AI is a more viable service at this point in time. I feel that AI as a service or AI infrastructure as a service is more viable than the whole NFT space, because at this point of time, right, we are trying very hard to allow people to transition to data data collectibles, right? Data collectibles, I define that as, for example, electronic art. A sneaker can, let's say for example, if I was a collector, a sneaker is still something that I can still purchase, unless of course it's a rare sneaker. We digitize it or having a digital signature, and then after we fractionalize it. Same thing as luxury watches, same thing as art. A hardcore collector will still want to own the whole piece. The only reason why I would want to have it on a marketplace is that I have difficulty selling it. Also, I have difficulty getting the liquidity for it. So if I was someone who was not well connected, I would like to have more marketplaces that will provide me that liquidity. So for example, if I give you an example before I come to your AI question, but let me give you some context. So if I have a luxury watch that is a rare piece, I know for a fact that I cannot offload it to any gray market dealer, because the gray market dealer may not be able to have that liquidity to pass to me. Okay, let's say it's $600,000, right? He may or may not have it. Now the question is, would he want to pass me 600,000 and we do the deal straight up, and then he will have to deal with offloading it? He will need to think, does he have the customer that is willing to buy this up at 660,000 or 600 and or 100,000 on top? I'm just giving an example. So someone who provides you with the liquidity will need to know how to offload. It is no different from any crypto marketplace where they also need to find the liquidity provider to buy and sell the tokens from you. Okay, it's the same. It functions exactly the same. So now that he's able to help you to give you that liquidity, the 600,000 for example, the question is, now that it's in your possession, let's say I'm the exchange, I'm in possession of your watch, I need to know how to offload it. I must have enough customer base or the right customers that will buy that luxury watch from me. Okay, and now you understand it, right? As you can see, it's quite difficult if you haven't built that infrastructure or you haven't built that network of people. Now we talk about AI infrastructure or AI marketplace, which SingularityNET has already established. They are building multiple. You can see their ecosystem is actually relatively small. So I kind of glanced through it. There is robotics. So who are the co-founders, right? The name is a little bit hard to pronounce, so I don't want to butcher it. So there is a doctor who is a little bit eccentric, long hair, curly and everything, wears a hat. And then there's Hanson Robotics, right? The founder of Hanson Robotics. These two are actually building the whole AI marketplace. And of course, having AI, there's also a Singularity Studios, which provides the AI services for B2B. So I feel that that's more viable. I'm not saying that that's the main play, because whatever I choose, right, it's pretty much like what you just did. You said you're looking at tokens in your portfolio that are that are showing development. This is kind of like how I want to play it. So I'm not saying that AI tokens are going to run this round, but I just felt that AI tokens didn't really run much the last round. What's still running, for example, just when Binance CEO CZ stepped down, right? Then you see Uniswap start moving up. So Uniswap did like literally 25% from less than $5 to now it's about $6.30. just on that piece of news alone. But did other DeFi swaps move? Cake didn't really move much. Sushi didn't really move much, and Curve didn't really move much. But this what you call Uni moved quite a bit, right? Because it's still the number one. So in my opinion, right, there are still quite a few plays in the AI space that are more viable to me. It makes more sense to me that I would kind of park some funding there and see how it goes. But because 2019, leading up to the whole 2021 bull run, right? You have DeFi, you have NFT, you have the whole metaverse gaming. Those things move, but AI didn't move. So to me, with the whole ChatGPT, Sam Altman fiasco, right? It has kind of put some attention to the AI space. Also, you're having people who are writers, for example, the Hollywood writers, they were protesting against AI because they wanted to protect their interests, which is of course normal. But I feel it's quite inevitable. But one thing good I can say is that they don't have to really worry too much. AI can only do so many things. They can do repetitive things, or they can help you do certain searches, but they cannot access every single wall of information at this point in time. There are, for example, I was looking at trying to create a list of Web3 companies, right? Because I have a company that does off ramping at this point in time. I'm working with the company, and I want to create just a list. Give me a list of the top Web3 companies in the world. They gave some suggestions, but I needed the contact, right? So I still needed to kind of go into the individual websites and find the context, whether is it an email, whether is it a phone number or address. It doesn't populate and do everything. I guess you could refine the search, but there's still walls of information. There's still walls of security that open or ChatGPT can access at this point in time. So I feel that creativity, for example, doing content like this, is still it's still quite hard to do. It's still quite hard for a computer to do. Like for example, to have this experience, I came up with the concept. It's not new, but I think this concept of, as you can see, I'm not really eating. I'm actually having a chat with you. So that's kind of like how the whole AI space is still very far from where you think it is. Now, of course, robotics and everything, they are doing mundane tasks like the waitering, taking an order potentially, sending out the order. These are things that are being done. But I think we still don't have to worry too much. What do you think of Mike Menza's heavy duty training? I think AI will cut into OnlyFans girls' profits. Mike Menza. Mike Menza was a bodybuilder, isn't it? Okay, I'm not into bodybuilding, my friend. Okay, I'm into more of longevity. So I eat to really take care of myself. I'm not into bodybuilding. So being my age, right, I'm only concerned about making sure that my body functions optimally. No brain fog during the day. Energy levels don't go all over the place. I'm able to focus and function. I'm able to be creative. I'm able to interact well. I didn't want to have the very poor emotions that I used to have when I was not taking care of myself. So during the whole 2017 leading up to 2022, okay, I was having very poor diet, poor habits, all sorts of just laziness, complacency, no health scares, thank goodness, but I was just complacent with my health, right? And I realized that my mood was very bad because I was sleeping late because I wanted to know and update you guys about crypto. So being in the Asian timing, right? I would be I was supposed to be sleeping when you guys are awake. All right? And then after that I'll be waking up perhaps maybe in the afternoon. Okay? And my whole circadian rhythm is all messed up. I wouldn't be able to be very fruitful to you guys because my mood is very bad. So after I do the stream, I may seem okay, but towards my family, I wasn't a very nice guy, right? I would be very edgy. I'll be very tired. I would feel like sleeping and dozing off all the time. And I told myself, stop all this shit. I know you guys will be understanding, right? Because I feel that I've provided at least enough valuable information and insights that y'all can adjust to my timing as well. So that's what I've done. So I just basically, starting of the year, I started working out again, tweaking my diet, and also that's why I wanted to revamp the channel to focus more holistically on the development of a human being, right? Just being a optimal human being, whether you're watching me for the very first time, whether you're someone who is in your peak of your life. Like for example, you're 35, right? You're still figuring out what you need to do, what you shouldn't do. You're still partying, but maybe you want to tone it down. You got to adjust and listen to your body. That's what I feel is very, very important. You need to adjust and listen to your body. Yes, okay. So Chinese food, let me tell you something. If you're eating out, and I want to be very honest, I'm Asian, okay? It is, okay? It could be. The only thing is, higher level Chinese restaurants give you quality ingredients, but it's the prep. What kind of oils are they using? How much sugar are they using into the dish? Because, for example, Sichuan, I can't explain this. Sweet and sour pork, for example, sweet and sour pork is usually fried in a certain batter. The more skilled the chef, the thinner the batter, the lighter the batter. However, they have to fry it with a lot of oil, and then from then they layer that very nice, luxurious tomato sauce and pineapple or peppers, depending on how it's being prepared. I'm not a hotel chef, but of course I've eaten enough of those. Now, now we talk about the quality of the sweet and sour pork. That is usually the pork belly. So it's higher in fat, plus coupled with the sugar and the flour, it doesn't make it so awesome. Now, could you make a healthier version? I would say that it would suck, because you want to have that whole taste profile of the koloyo, or we call it sweet and sour pork, at least for you. Now, of course, there are other dishes like venison, which is basically stir fry with chives. It's very straight. That's very, very straightforward. But still, there's that black sauce, right? It could be a dark soy or dark sweet sauce. There's always some element of sugar. No harm if you have a very healthy regime in place to kind of work it off. A little bit of sugar here and there will never kill anyone. It's about you living what kind of lifestyle you have. If your lifestyle is relatively sedentary, that's the part where you are susceptible to heart disease, any kind of kidney failure, diabetes, so on and so forth. These are the things that add up. It's not that one meal and you feel extremely guilty. People who work out tend to be very, very conscious about such stuff. People who don't work out tend to be not very conscious, because that's like how they consume it. It doesn't have to be Chinese food. Now, Chinese food, the problem is, okay, noodles, like takeout noodles, okay? That one is definitely not so awesome, because don't forget that noodles have a shelf life. Anything that has a shelf life has preservatives. It's simple as that. Why, if you can make your own noodles, you're so capable that you have the time and the skill to make your own noodles, you should, because you control the elements that are being put inside, the ingredients that are being put inside. For me, I keep to whole foods because they're easy to prep. I don't have time to go and process pasta and everything. I would love to. I don't have any restrictions to what I can eat. I can eat anything, but I would choose to stick to whole foods because they're just easier to prep. It's more straightforward. For example, dinner would be a steak, and together with vegetables. Very, very simple, very, very straightforward. If I want to have rice, I'll have rice. If I don't want to have rice, I don't have rice. It's not like a hard and fast rule here, you know what I mean? So guys, if you're wondering what's the purpose of this video, this live stream, we're thinking of like you're having a meal. And I think everybody wants to be able to learn something during that meal. I always feel that the best conversations are through a meetup at over coffee, or over a meal. And depending on who you sit down with, you get to learn something. And if you're sitting down with someone who you respect, who you care about, you are open to share stuff, and I'm also open to share stuff with you guys. So this is just a very new concept. It's by no means mukbang. I'm no Nick Avocados gorging myself up with tons of food and all that. I'm not here for that kind of entertainment. I'm here to teach and learn something. And I learned something from you guys. Like for example, Greg is sharing about his portfolio, and I'm sharing about my current meal plan. What did I do to change my life around? And you guys can come in and talk about anything. What is up, man? So you think Singularity is a good play? I would think so. Yes, I would think Singularity is a good play. What's so funny, man? Z, what's so funny? Talk to me, man. Thank you. Thank you. What's so epic about it, man? Just having breakfast. But I appreciate you. Lovely, man. Whole foods are always good, brother. There's nothing more that I enjoy than Whole Foods. And so, like, kind of just showing people, hey, this is what actual healthy food is supposed to be, or enjoyable food is supposed to be. Cut out a lot of bad stuff from my diet. Hope you guys are able to kind of eat, holistically as well. Because as we age, our body is not so forgiving. A younger me will probably be eating Shake Shack, right? I think Shake Shack has one of the best taste profiles. McDonald's has very good taste profiles. But when I researched on McDonald's, man, that is just bad stuff, man. And I just realized that you just can't have everything, and we have to tune ourselves to identify what is good for us and what's not good for us. And a lot of the foods, right, are now basically so processed that you crave more and more of it. The more you consume them, right, the more you think about it. Like for example, pizza, right? You never stop at one piece. I've never stopped at one piece of pizza. Whether is it Domino's or whatever, right? I will always be willing to eat more and more because of how carbohydrates are created. You crave more and more of it. So it gets very scary if you put yourself in that situation without that mindfulness. Okay, wait, let me get one question at a time. Okay, you have an XRP bag, but I'm starting to think Ripple makes all their money just selling XRP to investors. I'm having some doubts about it. Okay, the whole payment network for crypto, right, isn't built around helping you make money anymore. It's now a mode of transfer. So if the tokens are relatively going to be like unstable in terms of price, it doesn't function very well because there's no stability. But take note, when XRP was created, it was what you're wondering whether is it a security, right? Because the tokens are being sold with price appreciation, and at the same time, that's what you don't really want. XRP functions as a payment network. It's fast and cheap, decentralized, hopefully, and then making sure that it's secure. I send to you in America or wherever you are, Europe, wherever you are in the world, you receive it in seconds. doesn't matter how much. That's the most important thing. And as long as it functions that way, it's a good network. So you don't want to really put your money there hoping that it will pump. You are using it as a means to move money around. That's all. Okay, what drove you to do this today? I don't know, man. Z. I don't know. I just kind of thought of it because a lot of my conversations that I have with people who are of high net worth, we're always meeting up for coffee. We're doing a Zoom meeting. We have a lunch, and then we talk, we converse. And I'm thinking, hey, why don't I just do this? It's it's not a new concept if you think about it. There are people who do mukbang, and well, but mukbang is, I guess, more for entertainment. Whether or not there's any value, it depends on the content creator doing it, right? But mukbang to me, I feel is very unhealthy because there seems to be a huge amount of food to create that illusion. Like, wow, there's this amount of food and people are brought together by food. I am just more of showcasing what I'm genuinely eating on a normal day. And I hope that people who think that their breakfast is optimal will have a change of mindset and identify what is truly optimal. So maybe hope to summarize your question and answer you. Okay, Pothead, making a little play with Pulse Chain as Richard Hart. Oh, Pulse Chain and Richard Hart. Okay, Pulse Chain. Okay, Pothead, you guys have probably been more into the market. Like now you're name dropping. I won't know everything. I'll be very honest. I'm very specific about what sectors I'm gonna aim for and go for. But I'm not really going to go all over the place this time around. I'm going to be very specific. So, Pothead, forgive me if I'm not as versed as I was last time because I just feel that too many tokens already, my friend. But name drop, I can go and research, read about. I try still. Speculative is definitely always good. Especially, I think you've been around for so long. You probably throw whatever amount that you have that is liquid, and you know what to do. But I kind of like don't want to go into anything speculative. I just want to go for just proper stuff that have proper development, and we hope that it turns out well. Do I eat any organ meat? No, I don't. Yeah, I don't eat any organ meats. Organ meats at this point of time are quite hard to find because in Singapore, right, we don't bring in much organ meats other than the pig. Like the pig organs are very easily available, but if I wanted to find beef, right, cow organs, for example, from a grass finished beef, I can't find like a cow heart, for example, or a cow liver. I just can't. Even cow tongue is also quite hard to find. Okay, thank you so much, Murky. Okay, so to sum it up, it's Pulse Chain. For Pulse Chain, see, so Murky is very helpful. He kind of summed it up. It's just another layer 1 blockchain that copied Ethereum system state that has 1 to 10,000th of its fee, but we'll see how it plays out. Oh, okay. So it's more of okay. So basically, it's just faster. It's more efficient. It's a layer 1. Okay, well, it's just a competitor, right? It's just like trying to compete, right? So-called being wanting to become a Ethereum killer, for example, right? So it all boils down to adoption and what kind of community it is built. Is it attracting enough developers? Are enough businesses wanting to be on Pulse Chain? I guess it boils down to Richard's know-how and connections, right? To have them built on top. Yeah, sure. Wait, let me see. Beef liver and young is widely available in the US. Yes, it is. Okay, halving. How have I been preparing for halving? I think at the end of the day, you just want to make your bets before the market really moves, right? So making your bets when it's the bear market, which is what we were having for the past six months to 12 months, that's exactly when you should prepare. And you don't have to like prepare much when you have been in so many cycles. This is the third cycle for us. Like when I see some of you all have been around very 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 quick. You have been around a while already. When I see your tags, right, I know who you guys are, right? I may not know you all personally, but you all have been around for more than how many cycles already. So you don't have to prep for it. You just have to make the most educated picks that make sense. Like I mentioned to you, I feel that the AI will move. I may be wrong, but I want to still look at layer one blockchains. Okay, so for example, I'm still into Polkadot. Polkadot has its issues in the sense that it's not as sexy versus everything else, but it's still one of and still attracts a lot of developers to go onto Polkadot. So that's just my take. Then and also I'm a personal holder of Polkadot. It didn't move much. Only did a 10x the last round, but maybe with enough recognition, it could move. I don't know. So in terms of staking, so far I've been staking Polkadot in my through my ledger, and yeah, 14% per annum, still really decent, right? So I just feel that you need just enough traction and the right catalyst in order for whatever you intend to buy to move. And it depends on whether when the markets decide to move, are those tokens easy and have enough high liquidity for people to move in and out of. I've mentioned this before. A lot of the times when people decide to pump a token up, it's not just based on news. It is based on the fact that can they move their money from one place to another without and as little detection as possible and pay the least. Because that's just basically what it is. Am I a VC? No. I'm not officially a VC. I would say I'm more of an angel investor, but at the same time, I enjoy connecting with people in the space, which I have the privilege of doing so because I've done a lot of early round investing and we did enough pooling to be recognized, right? And that was pooling during the ICO time. Now we don't really do that. We could still do that, but we don't. We try to avoid that because we feel that the retail investment space or the retail investors are not educated enough on the risk. And when you kind of share it with them, they will look as if they agree, but they don't understand the entirety of the risk. Even though there's agreements in place, it still doesn't protect them. And sometimes you don't want to be in a situation where you have to vet them too thoroughly. You know what I mean? It's not very nice. It's like you are like asking them to strip naked and then you do a vet. I feel that the retail investor space is a place where at the time when it was ICO pooling fever, it was kind of okay because everybody was savvy enough to kind of know how to buy Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then everybody would throw a little bit in and then pull together. But right now, I would no longer want to be involved in such a thing. That was just, we only did raises for two projects, right? That was PundiX, and the other one I did was on my own, which is called Humanic. So I was never someone who did a lot of ICO pooling. It was just, and by the way, PundiX is still around. PundiX is still around doing very, very well. They have already grown to like a really substantial stage at this point of time. So I'm always very impressed by the picks and the type of vetting we did last time. I'm still like kind of like, whoa, okay, you made some good moves because it wasn't roulette for me. I was like more of a sniper. I would do my best to interview them, hence the channel. I would interview them. I wouldn't be shilling. I would be interviewing them thoroughly, asking them about where they were getting their funding, what was their concept based on, how was their go-to-market strategy. From there, do they plan to have any revenue streams? What would they be? Just identifying, because through a meeting, right, you get to see them face to face. Are they very awkward with the way they speak? Are they confident about their product? And quite frankly, you see a wide range of people, right? You see people who are founders, who are the tech people. They are very logical individuals. They are able to converse with you on the tech. Then after that, there are people who are the salespeople, who are the marketers, the CMOs, for example, or the sales managers, the ones that are supposed to rope in clients. They talk very differently as well. So There are the ones who are always intending to raise money, and there are the ones that are not interested in the raising money or the prices of the tokens. They are there to build the product and make sure that it works. It's very, very exciting and very interesting. So that's why I hope to kind of reinvigorate the channel. As you can see, it's now not very fantastic. It's only like 4 people watching at any one time. But I think it's more of my own fault, right? Because I kind of stepped away because I couldn't really identify where I wanted to provide value anymore. And I didn't want to be the one to talk about 10 different tokens in 1 week, and or give me a top five clickbait people with the top five tokens that I feel will move. After a while, to me, that got old. It really got old. It was more of like, I'm not being creative. You know what I mean? I felt that I was suffering, and I didn't want to add value that way. I'd rather have 5 people who genuinely want to sit down and learn from me and have a conversation, and I can have a conversation with you. I'm learning from you as well, depending on what you decide to share. And we just chat. I'd rather do that. Because when I sit down at the table, I don't have like freaking 100 people in front of me. I'm not that kind of guy. I prefer like having more intimate conversations with people. And then from then, we all get to learn something. That's kind of like how I see it. Like that gives me value, you know? So if you're wondering, the whole concept, yeah, what it's all about. One thing that I wish got more recognition would be privacy-focused coins. Okay, that's true. Especially with how governments keep trying to take your privacy from you. There is, okay. So Pivx, right, did pretty well recently, didn't it? Pivx, right? But that's because I only see the um, BTC pairing. It only had the BTC pairing, and Pivx was a privacy coin. I think the other one is called Monero, right? The old school Monero. And yes, privacy is very important. But you know what? It's not as sexy when people would compromise their privacy for their convenience, right? Because at the end of the day, you and I may value privacy, right? We may want to show a certain part of ourselves, but we don't want to show everything. So we understand that. But a lot of people, when you speak to them, right, they are more focused on the convenience. How can I conveniently transfer money from this person to this person? How can I conveniently buy this to buy this? And that is why a lot of people fall for scams. Why are people always falling for the QR code scams or some kind of because they're trying to get a deal. And at the end of the day, they're trying to get a deal, or they're trying to fill a void in their life. For example, why do people fall for love scams? You may think it's such a joke, but when you've been alone for a good period of time, okay, let's say you lost your significant other, and you've been alone for a very long time, and you have money, okay, it may not be a lot, but it's reasonable for you to retire with. But you have this person suddenly out of nowhere contact you, and that person starts interacting with you. It feels nice. As a human being, you want to have that ability. So to connect, right? Even if it's just one person, and all it takes is for that one person to make that kind of connection with you, even though you know initially it's false, it's not real, but you enjoy that moment to be able to start talking to someone. And from then, this person starts opening up and saying they need money. Then the alarm bells don't really trigger because they built themselves with you, that relationship with you, to bring your guard down. They will ask you for first maybe 5,000, then 10,000. Then you think, this love scam, isn't it around for donkey years already, like many, many eons already? Why are people still falling for it? That's because you're not in that situation. You are not in that situation, and you don't feel that way. That's why you're like, come on, man, like, why are you falling for this? But you realize people fall for it because we are human beings. We are vulnerable. And that's what makes us special. Our vulnerability also puts us in positions that we don't want, and that's how we kind of discover new things, right? We become problem solvers. That's why no matter what, right, an AI can only pick information that is out there, and if it collects enough data to process a particular problem. But a human being, right, can actually be able to think on the go very quickly and adapt to it, depending on how sharp your mind is. That's why nowadays, whenever I eat foods, right, I focus on feeding my mind more than how my body looks like. Because when your body looks awesome, it doesn't mean that internally it's awesome. It really doesn't mean that. And we can really take note from a lot of the recent bodybuilder deaths. They are really fucking young. Okay, they are like 30 years old or less than 30, I mean maybe around mid 30s and they're dead already. Then I'm like thinking, what the hell, man? Although yeah, they made a very nice impact and around the world and everything, but they're dead. Right? Why, why couldn't they take care of themselves a little bit better? Yes, but it all goes down to how do you want to go out in this world, right? So for me, I'm more of like, okay, I just want to take care of myself. I want to live long enough so that I can see my kids grow up, and yeah, making sure that I'm there for them. I can protect them. I can provide for them. That's my objective. I don't have any. I've achieved quite a lot of things that I've wanted from a monetary standpoint, and right now for me, it's more of like, okay, just growing as a person. How else can I grow? Not from a monetary standpoint, because you realize that when you reach a certain net worth, you don't think about buying stuff all the time. It's fucking pointless one. Because, okay, so for example, right, thank goodness I'm not into the whole supercar or sports cars phase, right? I just don't enjoy that. I just don't. Like, you can never put me in a Bugatti or a McLaren and then say, wow, it's the most exciting thing. It's just not me. It's just not for me. I'm more of making meaningful connections. Like, when I say meaningful, right, I feel that people are the hardest, but also at the same time, most challenging to change. I take that as a challenge, if you ask me. Like, for example, I can share information with you, right? You would have your perspective, you would have your opinions, you would have your thought process, analyzing the information that I'm providing. From there, you will go out there and execute it in a way you think works. And you think that it's Ryan's methodology, but actually it's yours. It's very, very interesting. That's why I find that more of a kick than owning a car and turning it on. Because I can control the car. What? At the end of the day, I can control the car. I buy the damn car or I buy the damn watch, it's mine. I can do whatever I want with it. But I can never do entirely what I want with you. Right? You are watching this, you are absorbing this information, but depending on how much you respect me as a person, you would execute accordingly. And you would also find other data sets, other data points, and then you make a consensus. Right? So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I just find that more of a kick. Okay, okay, let me get to the comments. I've been missing out. Okay, loneliness will measure you up. When I was single, I would drink lots of alcohol at the house and then the spirit would move. Okay, and I would call the Uber to take my drunk ass to the strip club. Yep, okay. And now that I have a good relationship, I am much more stable and never do that stupid stuff anymore. Greg, that is definitely how we function, right? As a young individual, you just do things that make you feel good. But the moment you have someone that is stable, who you can rely on, who you can sit with and have meaningful conversations that you want to procreate with, right? That's when things get more meaningful. And that's how I feel about my wife as well, right? We dated for a good 10 years before we even tied the knot, because we wanted to know whether we were right for each other. And I feel that a lot of people these days rush into a relationship. They rush into a relationship, but obviously they're very slow to get married because there's now so many options through dating apps. There's just so many options. So since there are so many options, right, they are now able to kind of like, okay, pick. Okay, move on. This doesn't feel right for me. Move on. It wasn't so easy back then, but it's so easy right now that you want to have like certain criterias, whether realistic or unrealistic, and you map them out, and you meet people through the app, it kind of filters the demographic, and it becomes so easy to make. But to tie it down, to kind of get married, you still need to live with each other. You still need to be in a relationship long enough to test that part out. Your dating app can never help you with that. So I feel that at the end of the day, meaningful relationships, just like your portfolio, take time to build. Am I right? Yeah. So it's the same. I need to start chewing this down, guys. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this very first test episode. Let me know whether it's something you want to do more of, whether it makes good sense to do. I know it's a bit rude to talk and eat at the same time, but it's just new content, something very different. Feel free to comment what time we should do this. What kind of stuff you like to learn about, and then we can create maybe a series out of it just to try, something new, something fresh. All right, so I let you guys go. It's almost about an hour. Thanks so much for indulging me on this very first episode. I really appreciate it. Greg, Murky, Pothead, Z-World, the guys who kind of made the effort to comment and share. Really appreciate you guys. See you next live stream, man.